Certainly, thank you again to the brothers of Christ for the words to song. For there is certainly a message in song.
Yeah.
You know, they celebrated again the anniversary last night, and we're certainly thankful to them for again seeing this morning.
Amen.
Today, we would call your attention to the book of the Old Testament. Our scripture reading is taken from Exodus chapter 4 and verse 31. Exodus chapter 4 and verse 31. And you will find these words written therein, reading the King James Version. It says, and the people believed. And the people believed. And when they heard that the Lord had visited the children of Israel, and that he looked on their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worship. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Today, we want to speak on this thought. God is concerned. I don't know about you, my brothers and sisters, today, but to know that God is concerned about every detail of our lives, that God is concerned about our heartaches, God is concerned about our troubles, God is concerned about our frustrations, our disappointments. There's not an area of our lives that God is not concerned. Yes, you may not be concerned. Or your concern may be only about certain things. You may only be concerned for a little while. You may only be concerned about gossip. You may only be concerned about hearsay. He said or she said. But my brothers and sisters, you ought to take comfort, as I do, in knowing that God is concerned about everything. Not just something. You see, we want to say that God does not concern himself in the affairs of man, but I say, oh yes, he does. God is still very much an active God. And the brothers of Christ let us know that God is God and he won't change. For he is very active in the affairs of mankind. He has since the beginning of creation. After all, it was God who created us. All right. It is by him that we live, that we move and have our being. So why would he not be an active God? He is concerned about every detail. You know, there are some things in life that we say, oh, I ain't going to tell nobody else about this, about me, about that. Probably a good thing. But one thing about it is God knows. And we serve a God, we worship a God who not only knows, but a God who cares. Because as you know, sometimes you have friends like Job had friends. Sometimes they're only interested in finding out. Is it true? Is that true what I heard? Yes. Is that true that you have done something wrong against God? Is that true that you have no chance of succeeding in life? Is it true that we have people today that are so concerned about that, but yet they want to know, but yet there is no genuine concern about your well-being? But I have you to know that I know that God is concerned. 430 years is an awful long time. Yet they prayed and they trusted and yet they believed in God, that God was concerned about them. Yeah. And 430 years is a long time to have hope and confidence in God. But I say to you, my brothers and sisters, it matters not how long. What matters is that you maintain your faith in God. For God may not come when we want Him to, but He is an always and on-time God. 430 years of waiting for God to do something. You may be waiting in your life for God to do something. You may have been praying about something, and yet God has not answered your call. But yet, I say to you, don't stop praying. And more importantly, don't stop believing. You know, a lot of times people give up because they stop believing.
That's right.
Many people give up because they do what? They stop believing. And hope, my brothers and sisters, is all that we have. Hope that God will hear and answer our prayers. Hope in knowing that weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Sometimes your hope, your faith, if you can believe it, sometimes your faith is the only thing that can get you through the night. Sometimes your faith, when your back is against the wall, and the wall is against your back. Sometimes your faith is the only thing that can let you know that there is a brighter day ahead. When you have tried all that you can, and things still don't work out like you planned, guess what? You have to know that there is a brighter day ahead. 430 years waiting on God, 430 years and there was no action. Could you imagine many people died out? But yet they died out believing and hoping and trusting that God one day will make a better day for them. And how do you know that today? That sometimes the promise may be unto you, but guess what? It may not come until your children or maybe your grandchildren. But how many of you know today that we are today beneficiaries of some of the prayers that mama or grandma made? We are beneficiaries of some of the prayers that were sent up to God on our behalf. We must not ever stop believing. Young people, you must not ever stop believing in yourself. I don't care what the odds may be. You must never stop believing in yourself. So what? Your grades may not be where you want them to be, but keep on believing. So what? You may not have the things that you may want, but keep on believing that there is a brighter day ahead. In our text today, Moses was chosen to be the leader, to go down and to tell Pharaoh that God is going to do something for his people. And Moses had to be convinced himself that God was truly going to do this thing. God had to tell Moses, like, Moses, what do you have in your hand? A rod? God had to tell him, well, lay it down. He laid it down and it became a serpent, and Moses got scared, and then God said, pick it up by the tail. And that serpent again became a rod. God had to tell Moses yet again that I am who I am, that I said that I am. I am that true that I said that I am. We must not ever stop believing that God is not who we say that He is. We must never stop believing that God can do all things but fail. We must not stop believing. I don't care what the doctors may have said. We must never stop believing that God is the healer and He won't change. I don't care what your bank account says. You must not ever stop believing. I don't care what they may say about you. You must never stop believing in yourself, and certainly not ever stop believing that God is with you. That's right. But Moses, then God had to tell Moses, stick your hand in your bosom. And it became leprous. And then God said unto Moses, take it out, put it back in your bosom again, and guess what? It restored whole to him again. Moses had to be convinced that God was indeed who He said that He was. That's right. My brothers and sisters, God shows Himself to us every day. God convinces us. God proves Himself to us every day. I don't know about you, but to ride sometime and see a beautiful sunrise and let me know I couldn't do it. That God shows His power. Or to have the winds calm at one moment and then all of a sudden 60 mile an hour winds come and let me know that there is a God somewhere. And as I said on this past Wednesday, to hear the thunder as it rolls from one end of the earth to the other to let me know that there is a God somewhere, the awesome and the power of God. That there is a God somewhere. We must not ever stop believing in this God. Other people have you to believe that there is no such thing as God. Other folks, you see, the world is constantly pushing God in the corner. The world is constantly pushing God away. The world is constantly saying, the United States is constantly saying, oh, no, we can only trust in God when we say we want to trust in God. But you know, my brothers and sisters, we must always trust in God. Even in those areas that we don't want to give over to God, but we got to surrender over to God, knowing that God is able to work all things for our good. But Moses was convinced now. And so now he's talking to the elders of Israel. And he says to them, look, God told Moses in Exodus chapter 3, verse 16, he said, tell the elders, tell the people I'm getting ready to do something. And how do you know that in your life, if God tells you that He's getting ready to do something, if God promised you that He's going to do something for you, how many of you know that God will do just what He said He's going to do? If God said it, I don't care where you may be. I don't care what you may have. I don't care what you may not have. But if God said it's going to be thus and so, it's going to be. God told us, look, I'm getting ready to do something. They were 430 years, they've been bondage in Egypt. And Moses called the elders together, and here in chapter 4, he has a conversation with them, and he tells them what God is getting ready to do. And remember that you must always believe what God is going to do. Is what God said He's going to do, He's going to do it. You must always remember that God is concerned about us. God is concerned about you. Even when nobody else is concerned, when your own folks will forsake you, you have to know that God is concerned. Well, then we have what the people said. The elders said unto Moses, they replied to Moses here in Exodus 4 and 31, and the people believed. Y'all see that? Now notice where they are. Notice the current situation. The current situation, they're still in bondage in Egypt. But they believed that God was going to do something. They didn't know, notice, they didn't know the details. They didn't know when, they didn't know exactly how. But they knew that God promised it. And they knew and they believed that God would do it. It's never ours to know exactly the details of when or how, but it is only ours to believe that God will do just what He said He is going to do. I don't know how many times I didn't know how it was going to work out, but I knew God. I believe God. And guess what? When you put your trust in God, God will never let you down. I'd rather have my trust in God. I'd rather have my faith in God than any other thing.
That's right.
I'd rather believe God than the people believe. My brothers and sisters, we have not because we don't believe.
All right, we don't believe.
They believe. Even when their back was against the wall, even when it did not look good, they believed. And guess what? Not only did they believe, the elders believed the report that they heard. Notice it was not an ideal situation, but yet they believed. And when they heard that the Lord had visited the children of Israel, when they heard, notice that they were in bondage, but yet they believed. You see, you cannot do anything until you first believe. I still would be sitting there in Noble Rock if I didn't believe that when I went to my car, it was going to start. I believe that if I had gas in it, that I believe that when I cranked it, the motor would turn over and I could get down here. I believe. Nothing will happen until you believe. And they do is believe. When you believe, it don't make no difference what you might see.
All right.
When you believe. See, can't nobody else make me believe anything else but except for what that I know that if God has promised, you can't make me doubt him. I don't care what kind of thing you may show, what kind of evidence that you may produce, when I know that I believe. And so when they heard that God had visited the children of Israel and that he was concerned about them, notice, they heard that God had visited them, and he looked upon their affliction.
All right, look.
My brothers and sisters, God is concerned about us. When they heard that he had looked and he saw them in need, the Bible says then, all they did, they heard God. Notice again, God hadn't done anything yet.
All right.
But they believed in him.
Yeah.
And notice that they believed, but then they heard that God had visited them. God had solved their condition.
God had so.
And my brothers and sisters, that it makes no difference what you may think. That as long as you know that God sees you where you are,
Yeah.
then God can do something about it. For they heard